Hi, my name's Andrew Jenkins. In January, I was a finalist in Series 2 of the Traitors. Since the Traitors, my life has been crazy, but that wasn't the first time my life has been totally or completely rewritten. On August 28, 1999, I was involved in a very serious road traffic accident. I wouldn't wish that experience on anyone, but I want to be part of this amazing Headway campaign to show people out there who've had a brain injury or head injury that you can do great things. I was born in a traditional Welsh family. Mother and father been married nearly 60 years. I got 3 brothers, 2 older brothers, 1 younger brother. The testosterone in my house growing up, the competitiveness was off the chart. We were all born pretty much with a rugby ball in our hands. So from the age of 5, I played rugby. And my dream, like many people in Wales, I suppose, was to put on the red jersey and run out on the national stadium and represent my country. So growing up, I had a great upbringing, loving family, mother and father, really hard-working parents. Yeah, so they're really, really good, great role models. I had a lot of love in my family. But the problem with my family growing up is we just didn't show any feelings or emotions. Even to this day, I've never seen my family, show any emotion towards each other, say they love each other, hug each other. So I was growing up thinking, I'm a real strong man and you can't show any feelings and emotions, because if it did, it made you weak. And then on the 20th of August, 1999, I was involved in a very serious road traffic accident where my dream of playing rugby for Wales was taken from me and my life was rewritten. I went to a wedding. There was 5 of us in the car, so I'd been to the wedding all day. Somebody I used to work with. And then driving home from the wedding, I hit a curb, my driver's wheels hit a curb, and I flipped the car to the side. So I was thrown out of the driver's window, the side window of the car, the door window. I can't remember if the window smashed when I hit the floor or whether I had the window open. I can't remember. I just can't remember much about it, to be honest. So I slid along the floor then, my head hit the floor. As soon as my head hit the floor, I was unconscious. So I was dragged along the floor then for a couple of 100 yards and the car was sliding. And then when the car finished sliding, it sort of leant on top of me, it was leaning on top of me. I'd been told by the people in the car. So lucky, the people in the back of the car were like wedged in. I had a BMW 316, my first ever car, and they were like wedged in the back of the car, so they didn't really move. And my partner at the time, Katie, she was hanging above me. She's lucky she had her seatbelt on, or she'd have fallen on top of me. So, she was hanging above me, calling my name, and I wasn't responding. I was trapped half under the car, my legs were in the footwell, and half out of the car. So, psychologically, they had a lot worse than what I did, to be honest, because the things they saw must have been horrendous. When the emergency services turned up, they were asking the people in the car, was he drinking, has he been speeding? They said, it's too late now, anyway, he's dead. So they said I was dead on the side of the road. Obviously, I didn't die, I'm not a ghost. So it was very touch and go. But then they took me to the Royal Gwent in Newport, the hospital not far from where the accident happened. But there was nothing they could do for me there. So I had a police escort at the Morrison in Swansea, because that was where neurology was and plastic surgery. And while all this was going on, obviously my parents were having a knock on the door from the policeman to say that I'd been involved in a road traffic accident and it was quite serious and they had to come straight away. My parents at the time were getting ready for bed, so they were in their nightwear. My mother was in her petticoat or her nightie, my dad with his pajamas, and they said, can we go and get changed? And they said, this is so critical. They said, no, you haven't got time to get changed. You've got to come now. And if you spoke to my mother now, she says she recalls that night every single day since it happened 24 years ago. She relives that moment every single day where the policeman knocked at her door. So obviously I went down to Morrison Hospital in Swansea then, and they phoned Professor Hamish Lang that night to come into work, I suppose, to operate on me. So the first operation I had was to remove the bone from my brain. And then I spent 4 weeks then, or nearly 4 weeks in a coma in intensive care, then fighting for my life in hospital. When I was in my coma, they said I had severe brain damage. They could tell from the shadows on my scans, but they said they can't tell how bad it is or how severe it is until I wake up. There's a chance I might never wake up, but if I do, be prepared. I'm not going to recognise anyone, walk, talk, use my arms and legs ever again, because they said they'd seen shadows on my scans. So I woke up I went to intensive care. I remembered who people were, but they said I'd never walk ever again. So I said to the doctor, I guarantee I'll walk at the hospital. And he said, Andy, you'll never walk again. And I said, I will. I think it's mental health and resilience and believing in yourself and your heart goes a long, long way. Yeah, so as you can imagine, the physical injury I had were horrendous and really bad, but the worst thing for me was the psychological and the mental illness I suffered then for 20 odd years in silence, I suppose, because I walked around with a big smile on my face, put a mask on every day, dragged myself out of bed every day. And so I refused counselling. I couldn't talk to my family because we don't talk about things like that. Plus, you're putting them through enough stress as it is. There was 2 things that happened in my life. I met my partner at the time then, Kelly. She'd had a lot of trauma. She'd had trauma in her life, but she didn't let that trauma define her. And also, I met the man last year who saved my life. I tracked him down on Google, a bit spooky, but I did track him down on Google, and I went to meet him. I told him I was coming, I didn't just turn up at his office. Professor Ling, And I walked into his office and he said, wow, he said, you're incredible. He said, you're a miracle patient. He said, you should be dead. So then meeting them two people, thinking, yeah, I need to start inspiring people and, you know, use what happened to me for good. There's something called post-traumatic growth where, you know, you have a trauma in life, but you use that trauma then to help inspire thousands of people to do good things. I want to show people that you can have a trauma in life. You can, you know, maybe look a different way with scarring. You know, you lose your dream and lose something in life. You know, struggle with your mental health, but you can still turn your life around and achieve great things in life. So after walking out of hospital, my real challenge then started, I suppose, with my mental health journey. Some of the things that affected me is a loss of identity. I was a rugby boy from 5 years of age to 21. Growing up, I was surrounded by rugby people. I walk into a club or a pub, big, strong rugby boy, Andrew the rugby boy. And then I lost my identity. It was really hard. And you know, my three brothers still playing rugby at the time, all very good rugby players. My dad, rugby. So the only way I really thought of growing up, you know, to make my dad proud or just get his love and affection, I suppose, was to play rugby, to be best on the rugby pitch, to achieve things. And when I couldn't do that anymore, I thought, how can I make my dad proud? But also, one of the other areas I struggled with massively was my self-worth and my self-esteem, my confidence. I hated what I saw in the mirror. And I used to say some horrible things to myself every single day because I couldn't get away from my scars. Every day I look in the mirror, do my hair to go to work. I look in the mirror every day and straight away I see my scars. I couldn't accept compliments from anyone. If somebody'd say, oh, I didn't notice, some people say, I didn't notice your scars till you pointed it out. I think I was just being polite, just being gentle, just being nice. So I couldn't accept it. When anybody ever said anything nice to me, you got a nice smile, you got nice eyes, I'd always follow up with a negative. I'd always say something negative back. I'd never just accept a compliment of anyone. So if you tell yourself something every single day often enough, you start believing it. So the big thing for me was stop saying horrible things to myself. A couple of years back, I just stopped saying horrible things to myself. And also accepting compliments. Just if somebody says something nice to me, just don't say anything. Just say thank you and not follow up with the negative. So you're telling yourself, it's a big change, you know, speaking to yourself in a nice way is really important. And if you want to try and recover and help yourself, is stop saying horrible things to yourself. Yeah, so I went for counselling. So that was a huge part of my journey. And after the first session, there was lots of tears. Yeah, it was a very emotional session. And she said, I know what's wrong with you. I said, no, what, PTSD? And she goes, no, you're grieving. I said, grieving? That's when somebody physically dies. And she goes, you haven't physically got to die to grieve. So I was trapped in the grief cycle, I suppose, for many, many years. The 7 stages of grief, I think. And I've only been in acceptance for the last, say, couple of years. Since the Traitors, I feel very, very privileged to have a platform I have now to help inspire thousands of people, hopefully millions of people. And being part of Headway's campaign, it's amazing, to be honest. The work the Headway do is incredible. And this is what I wanted to do. This is what I want to use my platform for, is to help people to show they can lead a normal life, even if they're suffering a traumatic experience or a head injury or a brain injury. To keep believing in yourself, using people like Headway. But I understand there are lots of people out there who've had a brain injury or a head injury. Something for them, a great step for them might be using the use of their hand again, or being able to eat food on their own again, using a knife and fork again, or doing a couple of steps, or even getting their driving license back. Everybody's goal is different in life. You know, don't ever set your goals very high. Just take small steps. And when you achieve them small steps, make sure you celebrate that and give yourself a pat on the back. You're doing really well in life. You're doing well. You're moving in the right direction. And that's all you can say. Don't beat yourself up. You know, you get bad days. I get lots of bad days. Don't let one bad day ruin all the hard work you're doing so far. I keep rewriting my life every single day. My mission now, my journey, is to help inspire people and just break the stigma that surrounds mental health and well-being, really.